Hi, and welcome to our webinar on winning the hearts and minds of customers with Hairy Conversation. Today, we'll discuss how to effectively build customer relationships and loyalty through authentic conversational AI messaging experiences. So for today's agenda, we're lucky to have a keynote presentation by Euan Roberts and Luke Bridges, and that will be followed by the Q&A session. Euan is a data-driven marketing leader with experience across a range of channels and industries, and he's currently the head of automation at Movember. Luke is a passionate entrepreneur. He actually originally founded a conversational AI solution, which aimed to make interactions with businesses as simple and as enjoyable as chatting with a friend. And Luke is actually now the head of strategic programs here at Kudosity. And at Kudosity, he continues to help businesses to elevate their CX through AI-powered engagement. So I'm really excited to hand it over to you today to Luke and Euan.
Welcome, everybody. It's so great to be part of this webinar. And thank you, Tori, for the very warm introduction. So I'd like to start today's webinar by sharing a story. About 6 months ago, I was in New York City and a friend of mine suggested we go to Locanda Verde. For those of you in the know, Locanda Verde has become a bit of an institution in New York for its vibrant atmosphere, approachable yet expertly crafted Italian cuisine, and its ability to draw in both food enthusiasts and celebrities alike. Unfortunately, though, we hadn't made a reservation. So we called the restaurant and they were fully booked. So we decided to turn up anyway and just try our luck. We get there, we put our names down, and we wait, and we wait, and we wait. To the point where we actually got up to leave, but then they called our name. It was the manager. He escorted us to our table and he allowed us to sit down. He presented us with the menus and he took a step back and he said, "I would just like to take a moment to tell you what a pleasure it is to have you with us this evening." These were such simple words, yet hearing them that night was moving. He slowed down and created an experience using nothing but words and tone. He created a moment, and that moment earned a memory that I'll have for the rest of my life. How many of you have experienced an exceptional customer experience? An over-the-top experience that you've never forgotten? Maybe it was at a local restaurant, a clothing retailer, your favorite coffee shop, or maybe the last place you stayed on vacation. So exceptional that you've even taken a selfie and posted on social media to tell all your friends and family about it. Like me, many of you have experienced exceptional customer service that turned you from a casual shopper into a brand loyal ambassador. So why is it that each year in Australia, nearly 350,000 businesses close their doors? I've always been fascinated by business and why some succeed and others don't. My career has given me the opportunity to work with hundreds of organizations, executives, and entrepreneurs. And the ones that stand out are the ones that truly focus on delivering exceptional customer experiences, just like the one some of you may have thought about a few moments ago. Customer experience isn't necessarily about the service or product you offer. It's about how you make someone feel during the buying journey, and frankly, after the purchase has been made. What for me was a very ordinary setting in that restaurant in New York became a very elevated experience. It became a moment that earned a memory. To me, a moment is something that touches me. I know it when it happens, and it's magical. There's something about someone slowing down for just a minute that can be unforgettable. Celebrated African-American author, poet, and civil activist Maya Angelou said it best. In the end, people will forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Delivering a great customer experience isn't just good for the customer, by the way. It's also very, very good for your bottom line. A few years ago, Forrester Research published results of a study they carried out. And what they found was that companies that focus on delivering exceptional experiences for their customers significantly outperform those who don't. In a similar study conducted by Watermark Consulting over a 13-year period, found that customer experience leaders generated a total cumulative return that was 3.4 times greater than that of the customer experience laggards. So it's not just good for your customers, but it's a very intelligent financial strategy. Today, far too many companies get caught up in investing all their efforts into persuading people to become customers, but when those customers finally walk through the door, they often squander the opportunity by failing to create any sense of lasting positive impression. Smile, say thank you, add them to a carefully segmented email journey, answer the phone within 3 rings. Send them a text on Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and don't forget the all-important 50% discount code on their birthday. The customer is always right. These are bullet points that so many companies hang their hats on and consider to be great customer service. The problem is this isn't customer service at all. This is nothing. It's nothing more than checking boxes, and it leaves us with nothing. It's easy to fall into the trap of just checking boxes, but doing so means missing out on the bigger picture. The real value of every customer isn't just in the initial interaction or sale, it's in the lifelong relationship you build with them. Think about the most memorable customer experiences that you've had. What do they all have in common? Almost all of them stem from a genuine interaction with another person. It's these human connections that create lasting memories, the ones that stay with you for a lifetime. Today, SMS remains a key component in customer engagement strategies. Despite its origins in the 90s, SMS still offers something invaluable: attention. As we all know, SMS consistently outperforms other channels hands down. Quite frankly, nothing else even comes close, as you can see here. But many years ago, we recognized that attention alone is not enough. True customer lifetime value comes from connection, not just communication. So we asked ourselves, what if SMS could be more than just a transactional tool? What if it could be used to create genuinely human experiences, interactions that make customers feel valued, heard, and truly connected? The question led to the development of Conversa, a platform that not just sends messages, but software from which you could build meaningful relationships at scale. At its core, Conversa is about recognizing the importance of human connection and using technology to enhance it. For instance, our empathy filter is designed to detect when a supporter shares something personal or meaningful, whether it's a deeply emotional connection to your cause or just a small detail from their day. Instead of responding with a generic automated reply, these interactions are flagged for real-time moderation. This ensures that these pivotal moments are met with responses that are thoughtful, compassionate, and authentically human, allowing for space for genuine connection and ultimately the magic that drives lasting relationships. You see, our approach has never been about letting technology take over. Instead, it's about using technology to amplify our ability to connect on a deeper level. Over the past 5 years, we've partnered with hundreds of charities refining the art of designing conversational experiences that build one-to-one relationships and drive growth. And today, I'm proud to say that Conversa is part of Kudosity. And together, we continue to focus on helping organizations foster these deep connections, ensuring that while AI plays a crucial role, it's ultimately about the human touch and the technology that can enhance it. With that, I'm excited to hand over to Euan from Movember, who will share why these one-to-one relationships are so vital to their mission. Together, we'll unpack the 5 key elements critical to creating these scalable personal connections through SMS, elements that have been instrumental in the success of our collaboration with Movember and many others. Over to you, Euan.
Thanks, Luke. I am Euan Roberts. I'm the head of one-to-one and automation at Movember. And there's many amazing things about working for an organization like Movember. Purely selfishly, it's great when I'm at a barbecue, not having to answer questions about, who is it that you work for and what do you do? I mean, these days I get different questions like, is the mustache compulsory? And what do you do for the other 11 months of the year? But overwhelmingly, the best thing about talking to people about working at Movember is the reaction that you get from people, because almost everybody knows somebody who's participated in Movember, has had a great experience and has a real relationship with their peers and with the organization. There's a nod, Luke. And so Movember started out as just a chat between friends in a pub, and over years grown into be a pioneer of digital peer-to-peer fundraising. It spread to dozens of countries, grown more than 5 million mustaches, and generated over $1 billion for men's health initiatives worldwide. And really, that one-to-one has been the key. You got the right cue. One-to-one has been the key driver to that success. And so today we'll talk about why one-to-one is important and why it's not necessarily all about AI. So Movember's always been about relationships. It's been about relationships between friends, relationships with donors, and relationships with the causes that the foundation supports. And Movember strives to provide a highly bespoke, personalized experience, giving supporters the tools and experience that they need to have the best experience they can throughout the campaign. We have some amazing fundraising teams globally, but like a lot of organizations, resources are limited, and they can really only focus on building relationships with a tiny percentage of our supporters. And naturally, that tends to be those at the top of the tree driving the most revenue. So the challenge for us was, how can we go beyond our broadcast channels? Email and social have a really important role to play for us. But if we're looking to build relationships and have real conversations with our supporters, we need to try and do that at a scale that we just couldn't do previously. And that's where looking at a solution like Conversa and SMS seemed like the perfect opportunity. So over the last few years, surely that means AI, and all roads must point towards that. But that's not necessarily the case, as we'll talk about. Chatbots have come on leaps and bounds in recent times, and I know personally there's a whole raft of experiences where I would rather engage with a chatbot to get the response that I need, because I know that it's going to understand my question, get me an answer quickly and efficiently without having to sit on the phone to the bank for 10 minutes. Every day I'm using Grammarly, ChatGPT to help draft some content, start that email, and use it as a real productivity game changer. But as I'm sure we're all aware, along with the good, there's also the downsides of AI. I ask you all to think about how many of you have used ChatGPT or something similar this week? And how often do you see it get the answer right first time? It's very rare that ChatGPT will never make a mistake. The example that I've got on screen is from yesterday. It doesn't seem like it would be a difficult question for AI to get right. And when AI makes these mistakes, it can have real-world consequences. I'm sure a lot of you will have heard about the incident from earlier this year where Air Canada had to honour a refund policy that its AI chatbot had essentially made up. And so the inherent risks that we have with using AI to interact with our most valuable resource, our fundraisers, can't be overlooked. In a sector like ours, where supporters often share deeply personal and sensitive stories, and we're looking for programs to help generate that engagement that makes them more likely to share those stories, the stakes are very high. So we have to really be considerate when we think about the trade-off between the efficiencies that we're trying to get, but also the risk that puts onto our communications, and whether we're willing to jeopardize that relationship for the sake of speed. So AI is an extremely powerful tool, but chatbots tend to operate in a very limited scope, and that's when they're at their most effective. They have a great ability to respond to questions, but they're not very good at developing relationships, and that is the challenge that we're trying to overcome.
Thank you, Euan. So, mute button is off. As professional marketers, our mission is not merely to communicate. AI, as you heard, is a very powerful tool, yes, but it's not the end-all be-all. As Euan shared, AI can enhance productivity and streamline processes, but it lacks the ability to foster deep, meaningful relationships on its own. Real connections, the kind that turn supporters into lifetime advocates, come from authentic human engagement. This is where emotions, empathy, and understanding truly resonate. AI might provide efficiency, but it's the human touch that inspires and motivates. In our work, it's essential to remember that there's no magic button for engagement. Winning hearts and minds requires careful curation, strategic thought, and a relentless focus on creating experiences that resonate on a personal level. Now let's talk about how we can achieve this at scale. How do we create those powerful one-to-one connections through conversational SMS? Next, we'll walk you through 5 key elements that are crucial to doing this right. And while these principles are universally applicable across all sectors, we'll be focusing on how they've been successfully implemented in the context of peer-to-peer fundraising events, specifically highlighting our work with Movember. By understanding these strategies, you'll see how to build meaningful connections regardless of your industry. Number 1, you had me at hello. Your hello is by far and away the most important moment of all. You do not get a second chance to make a first impression. When you greet someone, you're doing more than just saying hello. You're engaging in what behavioral economists call framing. Your first interaction sets the tone for everything else that follows. So your primary goal in this critical moment is to build trust, which is the foundation of all meaningful relationships. By creating a positive, trustworthy impression, you set the stage for all future interactions to be perceived more favorably, making it easier to generate goodwill and deepen the relationship over time. People don't form relationships with brands. They create relationships with people. Human connections transcend beyond loyalty because they tap into the emotional and relational aspects of our psychology. That's why the role of your single point of contact is absolutely critical. This person becomes the face of your organization, the embodiment of your brand's values and mission. Let me introduce Frances.
G'day, Frances here from Movember. So excited and grateful that you've joined us this year. It's an absolute massive year for Movember, celebrating 20 years of impact. We're not done yet, and you joining this year is certainly going to help us change the face of men's health. And we're so thrilled. I'm here to support you this year. Going to give you a quick tip through the app or through the website on your MoSpace. If you link it up to your Facebook fundraiser, that's a good way to get some donations in the bag. I'm here to support you. Don't forget. So if you've got any questions, please reach out and mow on. Go for it.
More than just a point of contact, Frances is a mentor, cheerleader, influencer, and friend to our Movember fundraisers. She brings a personal touch to every interaction, ensuring that each fundraiser feels valued and supported. Frances doesn't communicate, she connects. Her role is to equip, empower, and inspire our supporters, ensuring that they not only feel part of the cause, but are also motivated to champion it. The selection of someone like Frances, who exudes passion and enthusiasm for your cause, is absolutely vital. When your fundraisers know they have someone like Frances on their side, they're more likely to stay engaged and committed for the long term. To build strong relationships from the start, focus on these do's. Personalize with a single point of contact. Ensure your audience knows who they'll be dealing with, someone who is not just a name, but a relatable, approachable person they can trust. Express genuine gratitude. Begin every interaction by showing sincere appreciation. This sets the positive tone and makes your audience feel valued right from the get-go. Set clear expectations. Be upfront about what your audience can expect from this relationship. Clarity here reduces uncertainty and builds trust, making them feel secure in their engagement with you. Demonstrate kindness and reciprocity. Go beyond the transaction by offering help without expecting anything in return. This not only triggers positive feelings, but also builds a foundation of goodwill that strengthens a relationship. And when it comes to the don'ts, let me make this very, very simple for you. I have one golden rule. As tempting as it may be, do not, under any circumstance, ask your fundraisers to do something right away. Don't push them to fundraise, encourage them to post on socials, or ask a friend to join. If you do, then you are sending an instant signal to your fundraisers that you see them as nothing more than a piggy bank that you're trying to fatten up, and this is never a good thing. Instead of asking, focus on building trust. Allow the relationship to develop naturally by showing that you care about their needs and interests. This approach not only respects their journey, but also lays the groundwork for a more meaningful and fruitful relationship in the long run. When the time is right, they'll be more likely to engage, contribute, and advocate for your cause because they feel genuinely valued and understood. The science is clear. People remember how you make them feel. If your hello feels genuine and warm, it will create a lasting positive impression, laying the foundation for a strong, trust-based relationship. Number 2, don't be that guy. It's a well-known truth in marketing. People love to buy, but they hate to be sold to. This is especially true when it comes to fundraisers who have already committed to your cause. They've bought into your mission and they're here because they want to make a difference. But the moment you start shoving it down their throats, pushing them too hard, or trying to sell them on something they've already invested in, you risk alienating them. Your role now isn't to sell, it is to inspire, to motivate, and to empower. Once they've signed up, your job is to deepen their connection with your cause, not by shouting at them, but by guiding them with subtlety and care. They're already on board. What they need from you is support and encouragement, no longer a hard sell. Love them to bits, surprise and delight them at every opportunity. Small gestures of appreciation, unexpected rewards, and genuine gratitude can put the wind in their sails, making them feel valued and motivated to go that extra mile. When they feel loved and supported, they'll smash their fundraising goals. The key here is empowerment. Enable their fundraising efforts without dictating or pressuring them. Offer them the tools, resources, and encouragement, but let them take the lead. This approach taps into the principles of behavioral science, where empowerment and autonomy are powerful motivators. When people feel like they're in control and not being pushed, they are more likely to engage deeply and perform better. Being helpful and friendly rather than salesy builds reciprocity, a fundamental concept in behavioral science. When people feel that you're genuinely there to help them without any ulterior motive, they're more likely to reciprocate with increased effort and commitment. Authenticity in your interactions lays the groundwork for strong, lasting relationships, ensuring that your fundraisers feel connected and motivated, not pressured or manipulated. Number 3, relationships can't be forced. Building digital relationships, like any meaningful connection, takes time. There is no magic on button. You can't expect to send one text and instantly have a relationship. It's a gradual process, like dating, where you slowly get to know each other without being pushy. Trust is earned over time through consistent kindness and helpfulness. Surprise your fundraisers with the unexpected. Delight them with your words. Take a less is more approach, and whatever you do, make sure that your customers' journey allows the time it needs to develop relationships organically.
Thanks, Luke. So number 4, talking like a human. So copy is the key to building these relationships. And it's not just about talking how your brand wants to talk. It's about communicating how your audience wants to be talked to. An SMS isn't an email. It isn't a social post. It's more personal than that. Your copy has to sound like a person, and it has to sound like people actually speak to each other. So what do we do and what don't we do with our copy? So be casual in how you're speaking to people. Make sure that you space out your messaging, give it the space to breathe. Using emojis doesn't just help to add that human flavor, but it also helps to break up what can be a very text-heavy communication. And I don't know if I've said this before, but be human. And in terms of what we shouldn't be doing, don't use taglines. This isn't a marketing message in the truest sense of the word. I'd like to say that we stuck to that 100% of the time, but we didn't. But it's a really good rule of thumb. Likewise, you don't need to introduce yourself every single time that you speak to somebody. We all have that person who every time they SMS us, they reply with their name. It's usually love dad, love mum, love granddad. And that's great in those situations, but that isn't what we're looking to do here. And likewise, we don't need to be overly enthusiastic and patronizing. It comes across as less genuine and makes it seem like a more patronizing response. And if copy is the number 1 priority, then data and integrations are a very close second. These are the things that are really going to breathe life into your journey throughout a supporter's experience. Segmentation isn't just about who we are targeting. It's as useful to know who we shouldn't be speaking to. And having the right integrations in place that allow that data to flow in a timely fashion across all of your channels is going to really enhance that experience. As Lucas touched on, engagement with the program is a really significant indicator of somebody's success. But the reverse is true. A lack of engagement is an equally strong indicator that we can then use to inform how we're speaking to our supporters across other touch points throughout their journey. And as with all communications, having the right personalization at the right time is going to show your supporters that you really understand them and that your messages aren't going to sound tone deaf.
So let's talk about the last key element, focusing on your biggest fans. At Conversa, we've developed what we call the Conversa Relationship Score. This score isn't just a metric, it's a powerful tool that helps us understand how deeply engaged each person is in their journey with you. After just a few touch points, we can identify who your top fundraisers are by how they're engaging, who's really investing and who's ready to go the extra mile. Here's where it gets exciting. The Conversa Relationship Score has a near perfect correlation with fundraising success. As this score rises, so too does the amount of money raised by that individual. It's a clear reflection that when you build meaningful connections, the returns are exponential. Now, when you combine this with the Pareto principle, the idea that 80% of your revenue comes from just 20% of your supporters, it becomes crystal clear where you should focus your efforts. By activating this data early on, you can hone in on your top fundraisers, the ones with the highest engagement scores. These are the people with whom you've built the strongest relationships and the ones who will raise the most. The graph here illustrates this beautifully. You can see that those who are disengaged contribute the least. But as the relationship score increases, so too does their fundraising, with the most engaged raising a massive 3 times as much money. These are your people.
So on to what I'm sure a lot of you are really interested in, which is the results. And without wanting to give the game away, I probably wouldn't be on this call if it hadn't gone really well. And I wanted to start off by giving you a flavour of some of the conversations and relationships that we started through this initiative. So this is Ollie. He's one of our superstar fundraisers in Australia. At a live event during campaign last year, Ollie had a supporter come up to him and apologise for not replying to his last SMS. It's just a small indicator of the impact that these messages had on this fundraiser. Additionally, Ollie conducted some supporter listening throughout campaign, and I've grabbed a selection of the feedback from him. I did get a raised eyebrow when I included that last bullet point from Luke, but I wanted to show that no matter the tools or technology that you've got available to you, identifying how your supporters want to be communicated to is always going to have an impact on the outcomes that you get. Moving along. And one more. So going all the way back to the beginning, Movember started with a conversation. And what you're seeing now is an evolution of that chat and some of the conversations that we've started with the program this year. You'll see the times that we felt comfortable letting the AI handle the conversation. And you'll see times that a person's needed to jump in and add that human touch. But I think more importantly, what you see is the building of relationships, genuine relationships that have started through this initiative. And for us as an organisation, you'll see us generating supporter engagement at a scale that's just been impossible for us to do in the past. And when we look at the numbers, you can see huge levels of engagement with the programme. Luke's always keen to point out that 49% engagement is actually on the lower end of what he sees across his other customers. But I know that if I could get all of my channels to generate that level of engagement, I'd not only be ecstatic, but I probably would be able to put my feet up for the other 11 months of the year, like everybody seems to think that I do. As Luke talked about, engagement with the program is a really strong indicator, and engagement with the welcome video is so important as it gives us that really early signal to supporter engagement. As I touched on previously, it can then be used to trigger other touch points across other channels. And unsubscribes was a real concern for us going into this. SMS is a fairly new channel for us, and we were worried that by contacting supporters in this way, would drive down engagement across our channels overall. But that less than 1% unsubscribed shows a really strong indicator that the opposite was actually true, and is testament to the type of messages that we were sending to our supporters. And these numbers really speak for themselves. A 10% uplift in the average funds raised, a 6 times return on investment, that's an incremental return on investment, and a 4 percentage point increase in the activation rate of our fundraisers overall.
So to bring it home, let's quickly recap the key points. Where to start? Genuine relationships are developed with people, not brands. This is why introducing a single point of contact is crucial. When supporters know they have a real person they can connect with, they are more likely to feel genuinely engaged. Don't be a pushy salesman. Once you have them, there's no need to continue the sell. Instead, focus on empowering your fundraisers to providing them with the tools, information, and inspiration they need to succeed. When you shift from an ask mentality to giving, you will not only create a positive and more lasting impact, but you'll also grow supporter lifetime value. Relationships take time, so curation is key. The best relationships do not happen overnight. They evolve over time. They require careful nurturing and curation. Every interaction should seem as an opportunity to develop your connection, not simply checking a box. Casual copy. The way you communicate matters. Avoiding marketing copy at all costs, or your fundraisers will see through it as disingenuous. Instead, chat with them like a trusted friend, someone who speaks with authenticity and warmth. This approach helps build rapport and makes your audience more receptive. Take the time to get your segmentation right. Understanding your audience and where they are at any given time is absolutely critical for creating authenticity. By taking the time to develop the proper segmentations, you can tailor your interactions so that they remain highly personalized and, most importantly, demonstrate empathy. And number 6, weaponize your data. Engagement data is a powerful tool when it comes to understanding where you should direct your limited resources to optimize your program ROI. So in conclusion, building relationships and taking the time to develop meaningful connections with your customers is the ultimate flex. Whether you're working in peer-to-peer fundraising, retail, banking, or any other sector, these principles are universal. When you prioritize human connection over transactions, you create a foundation of trust that not only drives engagement, but also fosters long-term loyalty. And finally, Euan and I would just like to take a moment to tell you what a pleasure it was having you with us today. Thank you.
There's been a few questions in the Q&A. If we can maybe work through those. The first one was, how do you get started? What should our team be looking at first? And obviously in the context of conversational AI.
Yeah, so the best way to get started, I guess, just send a list through there. I'm not sure if you saw those slides, which just popped up. But the key to it is being human. And so I think selecting that single point of contact and nailing your hello. As I said before, the hello is absolutely critical. It is the most important moment. You literally have 5 seconds to create a good impression. And so even if you have not designed or figured out what the entire engagement journey looks like, just nailing your hello, welcoming everybody who comes through the front door with sincere gratitude, and letting them know that you're there to support them, you're grateful for them being there. That is the easiest way to get started. So hopefully that can help.
Okay, brilliant. The next question. The examples were mainly fundraising, obviously with Movember's amazing case study, but do the same principles apply for other industries?
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether you want to take some of these, but yeah, absolutely. Look, I think human relationships form a fabric of our society. And so customer service, as soon as you go into a coffee shop, as soon as you go into David Jones or Lorna Jane or your bank, that human relationship, the aspect of creating human relationships and doing those interactions really, really well can create loyal customers. And so absolutely, the philosophy of creating great relationships, exceptional customer service, that does apply across sectors beyond just fundraising. Okay,
brilliant. The next question is, how does the system identify which messages can be replied to by AI and which need human intervention? And then how often, I guess, probably referring to the Movember example, how often is human intervention actually required?
I'll talk to you about Movember, and then Luke can talk about the technical back end, I guess. So in our example, as I touched on earlier in the presentation, it was a real risk to us to allow AI to take over a conversation. So last year, we didn't actually allow AI to solely manage any conversations, but every message that came in, the AI suggested a response to. And then we had a human monitoring that and either saying, yeah, we can send that reply, or this is one that I need to funnel off to the team to reply to individually. I would say, it's a bit ballpark here, probably 75% plus were managed solely with the AI generated response. And then the 25% had an actual human get involved. But even having a human look at every message, just the ability to respond so quickly to so many was a game changer in terms of efficiency. It really allowed one person in a geography to handle thousands of incoming messages, which is at our peak during that first week in Movember. It was literally thousands of messages a day that we were receiving, and they were being managed by a very small team of people.
Yeah, from a technical standpoint, as we touched on earlier, the stakes are really, really, really high. Conversational AI is unbelievably powerful technology, but as Euan called out, the risks are enormous. You do not want to end up on the front page of a newspaper. And quite frankly, this is why you cannot just switch conversational AI and go just plug it into SMS and say, go for your life. It is too dangerous. And so I guess the way that Conversa and Kudosity now, and apologies for the brain confusion there, but essentially, from an architectural perspective, we recognized that conversational AI is incredibly powerful and it can provide enormous efficiencies. So Conversa or Kudosity would recognize when somebody's responded in a way that there is an opportunity to connect on a human level and for you to deploy empathy, because it's in those moments, in those interactions where the magic happens, where you create that human connection. If somebody replies, if we sent a conversation and said, hey, Euan, can I just quickly confirm your address is correct? I need to post it out. And Euan said, yeah, that's the one. Cheers, mate. Then the AI, that's low risk. And so the AI will automatically respond to that. It's when Euan would go on and respond, oh, yes, that's the correct address. Apologies for the delay. My kids just vomited in the back of the car, so it's been a bit of a nightmare of a morning. That's where the system would recognize this is a conversation whereby they have shared a part of their lives. And it's within those moments, if you can empathize with that person, you can create that human connection that becomes all important and can, quite frankly, off the basis of that, win them for life. So that's essentially how it's architected into the product.
Okay, great. And obviously RCS is a bit of a hot topic at the moment. It's starting to roll out globally. So we've got a question around how you see RCS impacting the stats you presented for SMS, or whether you just see RCS as being a complementary channel.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one. I'm very, very excited by the emergence of RCS. We've done some early stage, or done a bit of testing around MMS, and the more visual that your engagement is, the more trust that's created off the back of that. I suppose by having rich content being rolled into the SMS channel, then that becomes a bit of a game changer for us. At the moment, all of the visual and rich content, so videos and whatnot, they need to get delivered by a URL in SMS, and so you can't play it within thread. Rich communication service allows us to overcome that, and I do believe that it will trump and ultimately probably replace SMS as we know it, because I think everybody will just migrate into it. So it's a really exciting development to have, and obviously we operate in a world where nobody trusts text messages, so nobody's clicking links in SMSs. So we do get incredibly high click-through rates because we've learnt the art of engaging and how to create trust. However, RCS is only going to amplify that. So it's a really exciting time to be operating in this space.
Okay, well, we should probably start to wrap up now. Firstly, I want to say a huge thank you to you, Luke and Euan, for sharing your expertise and insights and some of the fantastic results that you've achieved with the Kudosity conversational tools as well. Thank you to everyone else that was able to join us today and got involved with asking some questions. If you haven't already, please do make the time to visit kudosity.com, where there's a whole heap of other resources as well as upcoming events. So thank you once again. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you next time.